Hey, I'm Tom Cross, and I'm the Director of Security Research at Landcope. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about insider threat. When you survey IT security professionals about the different kinds of security threats that they're concerned about, often insider threat is the top-ranked concern. But when I think about the information security world, we don't tend to focus on insider threat and how you defend organizations against it. We tend to focus on the outside. We tend to focus on viruses and malware and exploits and vulnerabilities and the APT. And I think that insider threat is a subject that deserves a closer look, particularly given how important it seems to be to folks in the IT world. When you think about insider threat, I really think that it breaks down into three subcategories, and sometimes people mix these categories together, but I think that each one of these subcategories requires a completely different response from the business. So first of all, you have negligent insiders. These are people who work for the company, who do something that causes data to be disclosed or lost, which is totally innocent or accidental. So, for example, someone who might have a bunch of customer PII on a laptop and accidentally leaves that laptop on an airplane. We've seen a lot of breaches that happen that way. Or somebody who's a developer who builds a development website and puts it on the internet, but that the website hasn't had effective security testing yet, although they're working with real data. These kinds of things happen all the time. That's negligence, no malice involved. At the same time, we also have malicious insiders, employees who are actually out to hurt the business or steal something from it. And that's really what people generally think of when they think of insider threat, although I think that negligence actually results in a larger number of incidents. In addition, we also have to concern ourselves with compromised insiders, like our Lego guy here. These are insiders or people who have access to your network whose credentials have been compromised by a malicious outsider. And so you have someone logging into your computer network and using systems that they're supposed to be authorized to use, but in fact, the person who's accessing the network is not the person that it's supposed to be. It's actually someone else. And that's a totally separate problem that requires a different response as well. Most of this talk is going to focus on malicious insiders. The computer emergency response team at Carnegie Mellon University has done a tremendous amount of research on malicious insiders. They have some great publications that they've put out based on hundreds of cases that have occurred over the years. And when they look at all these different cases, they break malicious insider incidents into three main categories. The first is IT sabotage, people who have access to computer systems and some expertise with them who just try to destroy data or destroy systems because they're disgruntled. Financial gain, people who steal things like credit card numbers or PII that they can sell and turn into money, or people who steal information for business advantage. So engineers who steal source code, or salespeople who steal customer contact information. Each one of these three types of incident, there's a distinct profile of the kind of individual who commits these kinds of crimes, and there's certain ingredients to how these crimes come about. Certain events that occur before and after that sort of lead up to the crime taking place. One thing that ties all of these three scenarios together is how these crimes are ultimately investigated and how the people responsible are identified. And the answer is logs. Logs. That is the answer to how insider incidents are investigated and ultimately deterred and prevented. At Landcope, we make a product called StealthWatch, and StealthWatch is a log collection system of sorts, but it doesn't collect normal computer logs. It collects a special kind of log called netflow. Netflow is a log that routers and switches will produce that provides an audit trail of everything that has happened in a computer network. The source and destination addresses of every network transaction, the source and destination ports, how much data was transferred, what time the transaction took place. The great thing about NetFlow is that the different components of your network infrastructure are already capable of producing this log, and all you need to do is collect it, and you'll have an audit trail of everything that's going on in your network. A lot of people are collecting network logs from things like firewalls or gateway routers between their network and the internet, but that's not that useful for investigating insider threat because often insider incidents occur back in the back office between people operating from their desktops to systems that are within your network. So being able to collect these logs from the access and distribution layers of your network is really powerful, particularly if you can do that without deploying any probes or sensors, and that's what netflow enables you to do. In addition, StealthWatch enables you to stitch that netflow, that record of what has happened on your network, to the identities of the people who are authenticated to your network at a particular time. One way is by integrating with the Cisco Identity Services Engine, which is Cisco's 802.1x authentication solution for networks. So when the user authenticates the network, that data goes into StealthWatch, and StealthWatch can stitch it to the records of the network communications that they initiated from their system. Then when you're investigating an incident, you can see not just that traffic is emanating from a particular IP address, but that IP address belongs to Bob Smith, and it is coming from his Android phone. And that kind of information gives you the context to really understand what's going on. If you don't have 802.1x authentication happening in your environment, Landcope also offers a product called the Identity 1000 that can tie into your Active Directory or your LDAP or really any other kind of authentication source in order to get that user data and stitch it to the NetFlow. The key is to have a record of what happened on your network that is tied to the people who are responsible. This enables you to do a user-centric investigation. So, if someone's manager decides that they're disgruntled or somebody leaves the company on bad terms and you think they might have stolen some data, it's possible to go put in their name and find out what they were doing on the network. You can see all the IP addresses that they had as they moved around the network, when they were in the office, in different meeting rooms, when they were working from home. It's all there. You can see every network transaction that they engaged in on the network. So you have a complete record of everything that they did. You can also see any suspicious or anomalous activity that occurred from their computer system during the time that they were there. So to give you an example, we had a customer who engaged in an investigation like this of an employee who left under strange circumstances. And they saw that this employee's IP was sending a lot of data to another IP in their network during the last few days before that employee resigned. They found out that other IP address was a printer. And fortunately, this printer stored the last 10 documents that it had printed in its memory. So they were able to extract those documents and find out they were sensitive documents that documented important business processes that they did not want to disclose to their competitor. And so based on that, they were able to open an investigation of the employee. And it turned out the employee was stealing trade secrets in an attempt to sell them to a competitor. So you can see how this network audit trail can be a powerful way to investigate things. In addition, StealthWatch profiles the behavior of hosts in the environment. I mentioned network anomalies. There are a number of anomalies that might lead you to identifying an insider threat situation. For example, we track how much data each computer sends to the internet each day. And if a particular computer sends way more data to the internet today than it usually does, then that might be suspicious and worth investigating. Someone might be exfiltrating data that they plan to sell to someone else. We can also look for data moving around laterally within your environment. We track how much data each host downloads from other internal hosts each day. And if a particular host downloads a huge amount of data from other hosts in the network today, that again might be suspicious. It might be that they're planning to burn all those documents to CD and walk out the door with them. And so you can identify that scenario and investigate it further. In addition, we can monitor a key server that has a lot of sensitive information in it. And of course, people use key servers operationally in the business every day. And so there's a baseline of regular network traffic that goes to and from that server. And StealthWatch will learn what that baseline is. And will tell you if there's an unusually large amount of data being downloaded from that server today. And so that could be a situation where someone is downloading the whole database or scraping it. And that's, again, something that you might want to investigate. So the bottom line is that StealthWatch gives you a whole bunch of tools that are very powerful for investigating insider threat in your business. And I think that again, insider threat is a subject that many people in IT security are very concerned about, and they don't really have good business processes in place that enable them to respond to it. And I think that StealthWatch is a tool that can enable them to create that business process and to really get better assurance that that's a problem that they have a handle on.